Christmas has a sound. It's the hum of conversations in the background, the clinking of cups, the laughter that spills out of living rooms, the familiar chaos of togetherness. And then there's another sound that almost no one talks about: silence. The kind of silence that fills a room when the lights are on, the decorations are up, and yet there is no one else there. For many people, Christmas is not loud. It is quiet, deeply quiet.
And behind that quiet lies a psychology that is often misunderstood, judged, or completely ignored.
Spending Christmas alone is usually painted as something sad, unfortunate, or broken. Society tells us that this day is proof of our social value, that if we are loved enough, successful enough, worthy enough, we will be surrounded by people. So when someone spends it alone, the world rushes to conclusions. They must be lonely. They must be unwanted. They must have failed at relationships. But psychology tells a far more complex story, one that rarely fits into simple labels.
For some, being alone on Christmas is not a choice, but a circumstance. Distance, loss, conflict, financial limitations, work obligations, or migration can quietly place someone in a space they never planned to be. The human brain is deeply sensitive to symbolic days, and Christmas is loaded with meaning. When expectations clash with reality, the mind doesn't just register disappointment, it can interpret it as personal rejection. This is why loneliness during holidays often feels heavier than on ordinary days. The contrast is sharper, the silence louder. Yet not everyone who spends Christmas alone experiences it as pain. Some experience relief. After months or years of emotional labor, forced smiles, unresolved family tension, or social exhaustion, solitude becomes a form of self-protection. Psychology recognizes this as emotional boundary setting. Choosing to be alone can be an act of self-respect, not self-pity. These individuals are often highly self-aware. They understand their emotional limits and refuse to sacrifice their mental health for tradition.
There is also a group of people whose inner world is simply richer than the noise around them. Introverted personalities, reflective thinkers, and emotionally independent individuals often process experiences internally. For them, Christmas alone may be spent thinking, creating, remembering, or simply resting. Their nervous system finds peace in quiet, not stimulation. The absence of social pressure allows them to reconnect with themselves in a way that crowded spaces never could.
Then there are those whose solitude is shaped by loss. Grief changes the way holidays feel. When someone you loved is no longer there, gatherings can amplify absence instead of comfort. The brain associates Christmas with memories that now hurt. Being alone becomes a way to avoid emotional overload. Psychologically, this is a coping mechanism, not avoidance. It is the mind's attempt to regulate pain when it becomes too much to carry in public.
Interestingly, research shows that people who can tolerate being alone without feeling empty often possess higher emotional intelligence. They are less dependent on external validation and more comfortable sitting with their thoughts. They don't need constant distraction to feel alive. This doesn't mean they don't value connection. It means their sense of self does not collapse in its absence.
However, the silent danger of spending Christmas alone is not the solitude itself, but the stories people tell themselves about it. When the mind begins to equate being alone with being unlovable, the emotional impact deepens. This is where psychology urges compassion. The meaning we attach to our situation matters more than the situation itself. Two people can sit in identical rooms on Christmas night, one feeling peaceful, the other feeling broken.
The difference lies in interpretation,
not circumstance.
There is also cultural pressure at play. Christmas is marketed as a performance of happiness. Social media floods us with curated images of perfect families, glowing trees, and smiling faces. For someone alone, this constant comparison can distort reality. The brain forgets that these images are selective moments, not full lives. Psychology calls this social comparison bias, and it can intensify feelings of isolation even when nothing is inherently wrong.
What is rarely acknowledged is that being alone does not mean being disconnected. Many people who spend Christmas alone maintain deep emotional bonds throughout the year. They may have friends, colleagues, or loved ones they connect with regularly, just not on this specific day. Time and presence are not the same thing. Emotional connection doesn't disappear because a calendar page changes.
There is also quiet strength in those who endure Christmas alone year after year without bitterness. They develop resilience. They learn how to self-soothe, how to create meaning independently, how to sit with discomfort without running from it. These skills are not small. They form the foundation of emotional stability. The ability to be alone without losing oneself is one of the most underestimated forms of psychological strength.
And yet, even strength deserves kindness. If you are spending Christmas alone and it hurts, that pain is valid. It does not mean you are weak. It means you are human. Humans are wired for connection, and longing is not a flaw. It is evidence of depth. Allowing yourself to feel without judgment is healthier than forcing positivity or pretending it doesn't matter. Sometimes the most important connection we make on Christmas is not with others, but with ourselves. In the quiet moments, without distractions, we hear thoughts we usually drown out. We reflect on who we are becoming, what we've survived, what we still hope for. Solitude has a way of revealing truths that noise keeps hidden. As this video comes to an end, remember this: spending Christmas alone does not define your worth, your future, or your capacity for love. It is a moment in time, not a verdict on your life. Whether your solitude feels peaceful or painful, it does not make you invisible. There are countless others sitting in quiet rooms across the world, feeling the same mix of emotions, even if no one sees them. If you are alone this Christmas, you are not abnormal, broken, or forgotten. You are experiencing a human moment that many silently share. And if you are not alone, may this remind you to look beyond appearances, to hold empathy for those whose holidays look different from yours. Silence does not always mean emptiness. Sometimes it is where understanding begins.